organization of police officers, judges, prosecutors, and other criminal justice professionals, and their supporters, people like me, who know that prohibition is a destructive, evil, wasteful public policy. And although this is Cannabis Day, I'm not talking about cannabis. I'm not talking just about the benefits of cannabis, which are important. I'm talking about something quite a bit bigger, and that is the damage of prohibition. Whether you think cannabis is good, as we do, or whether you think cannabis is destructive, as some people do, either way, the thing you cannot argue with is that prohibition is far more destructive than any drug ever can be. That is the message of LEAP. Prohibition is the problem. And this is not as simple as just the cannabis community versus the establishment. The people who should be opposed to prohibition are much bigger than just the cannabis community. I'm as establishment as you can get. My father was a member of Parliament. My grandfather was the chief executive of the Boy Scouts, for heaven's sakes. This is my genuine Massey College tie from Massey College, University of Toronto. I am so square, I have corners everywhere. I have worked for 30 years and still work in big bureaucracies, big companies. And prohibition hurts me and all the establishment people like me just as much as anyone else. Prohibition does nothing at all to reduce drug use of any kind. We saw that with alcohol in the 1920s. It's happening now. The United States, with some of the toughest prohibition in the world, has more drug use than the Netherlands. The United States drug use increased when they increased their prohibition efforts. So prohibition does absolutely nothing about drug use. But what people often don't realize is what prohibition does do. And this is what I want to talk about with all the people who don't already agree with us. All the establishment people or your friends who think prohibition is okay, who think that the cannabis laws should stay as they are, this is the kind of thing you want them to understand. What does prohibition really do? It doesn't take away the trade, but it means it has to proceed illegally. It means that other than people like us, who are law-abiding citizens growing their own, other than us, the big suppliers are criminals. It means that in Mexico, 30,000 people a year are killed because there are cartels fighting for the business. When was the last time there was a shootout between Molson and Labatt's? I'll tell you when. It was in the 1920s and it involved Al Capone and it was called the St. Valentine's Massacre. That's what prohibition does. It causes that violence. It causes that murder. Not the drugs, not the alcohol, not the cannabis, not the drug. It is prohibition that causes that. In the US, they think it is okay to barge into someone's home with an armored vehicle that has a gun on it that was used in World War II to shoot the Zeros out of the sky. There are police departments in the US using those weapons to serve warrants. Prohibition caused that. Police officers die every month for no good reason. Prohibition causes that. And the only rational thing for anyone who cares about how their tax money is spent to be doing, if you care about how your tax money is spent, if your boss cares, if your old uncle cares, if the straight guy sitting behind the desk at the bank cares about how his tax money is spent, he should be against prohibition 100%. He should be banging on the desk of his MP saying, what are you doing to get rid of prohibition this week, today, now? because there is no excuse for this public policy. None at all. Visit the LEAP website, www.leap.cc. Visit whyprohibition.ca to see all of the reasons why prohibition is such a destructive thing for us to be doing with our tax money.